Hi everyone, in today's video I will be showing you how I painted this koala bear using acrylic paints. So for this one I'm using a canvas panel instead of the usual stretch canvas that I use, and I drew the image of the koala bear, just the outlines of the koala bear and the branches on printer paper, and then used transfer paper just to transfer the image of the outlines onto my panel. Now I've diluted my acrylic paints and I'm just going through and blocking in the basic areas where the branches are and where the koala bear is. I am keeping in consideration as I'm painting the direction of his fur, where the shadows are, where his nose is, where his eyes are going to come, the lighter areas. I have taken that into consideration when I'm blocking in, just to make it easier when I start adding details later. So now the background, I'm just adding some green to the entire background. I'm not too concerned about it being too smooth or too clear, too blended well. I am coming through the mop brush to soften it out a bit, but I'm not too concerned because we are going to be putting a lot of leaves over that, because obviously he's sitting in the tree and there's going to be a lot of leaves around him. So we are going to come through and have some details of the leaves. As you can see, I'm starting to add in some darker greens just to get the dark shadow areas of the leaves in, and the general shape of the leaves and where they're going to be, where they're going to come on the final piece. So now I just went through with the branches and I'm starting to add some of the texture of the branches by adding in the shadow areas and the little dark holes in the branches and the texture to create that texture. And I'm also adding some blue to the top of the painting. That is just to show, because obviously koala bears sit very high in trees and some of the sky is going to show through the leaves. So that's just to show that. So it gives it a bit of a break from just being only green, and you can see there's some light coming in from behind, which is actually the sky showing through. So now I'm still going through with the leaves, and I'm just going through with some of the details on the leaves just to make it look a bit more realistic. And I'm also just adding some of the shadow areas of the branches and some darker green behind him just to create depth. I am coming through with a lighter green now just to get some of the lighter areas of the leaves to make them look more three-dimensional and more realistic. And it also makes it shows that there's some light hitting the leaves, because the leaves have shadow areas and it has the lighter areas, which will be the light color green. Okay, so now I'm starting to work on the koala bear. Now, remember, koala bears have very fuzzy sort of fur, and the fur on the ears, the hairs are very long. So you will see some droopy, floppy fur on the ears, and you'll see some fuzzy fur on his body. So now I just wanted to use a mixture of Payne's Gray and Burnt Umber just to get a general brownish gray tone over his entire body. And now I'm just coming through with some darker colors just to bring out the darker areas of his nose and his ears. Also working on his claws. And you can see now I'm starting to work on the detail of his fur, actually putting in the lighter areas, because we want to differentiate between the shadow areas and the lighter areas. So you can see now I've blocked in all the colors, and now I'm going to come through with a lot of detail just to make him look more three-dimensional and more realistic, and also to separate his arm from his body just so that he looks more realistic also. And also you don't have a big mass of fur. You can see his arm and you can see his back and you can see his face, everything separated. So I came through with some white and I went through over the ears and his neck area and his chin area, but I am going to go through with a glaze of a light gray mixed up with a bit of burnt umber just to give the glaze over the white, just so it doesn't have that shocking stark white. It tones it down a bit. It also softens up that white a bit. So now I'm just going in and adding a bit more details onto his head. And in this particular reference photo, there was a lot of brown in the koala bear, brown and gray. So I wanted to bring that out in my interpretation in this painting of the koala bear. And you can see I'm just going about moving from section to section, bringing in the fuzzy hair just so that he looks like a koala bear and his fur looks like a koala bear's fur, or how a koala bear's fur should look. Now I'm going with a little smaller brush just to get in some of those individual hairs, which will just give it a bit of more dimension and a little bit more realism by adding those little details. Those little details make a big difference in the final piece. And also coming through with the eyes and just adding some details to the eyes and some light reflecting in his eyes. That also makes a big difference in the final piece of a portrait of an animal. So now I'm just coming through with a glaze over the branches, and I'm adding some of the details, just the little holes in the branches, just to make them look more realistic. So I guess that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and share, and don't forget to subscribe. Till the next one, bye.